Okay, so we are going to go over working with materials in Blender. We downloaded an object file, this Eames chair from CG Trader, this FBX file, and then it came with a side folder called Variety Textures. Once you download them, you unzip them and make sure they are in a folder that you remember. I had previously downloaded this Nerium Orleander file, and let's go ahead and open this FBX file so I can first show you what an object with connected materials looks like when it imports. These are some different settings that could be played with, but generally is not required. Go ahead and import. And then you'll see it looks like it does not have any textures because we are in the solid view mode. So let's go ahead to rendered. And you'll see all of the textures. We can go to materials and see that the file is correctly imported, and you'll notice in this folder the FBX file is in the same hierarchy as all of these images. So that is one organizational way that does work, but when I have reorganized some of these models that don't import the materials so that everything is in the same folder, they still don't automatically connect. So let's go through some different troubleshooting options. First, I'm going to delete this. And let's go ahead and import that Eames chair. Here. All right, so a couple of things. This object was quite big when imported. If we go into animation, we can see that it is not within the camera view. So let's go ahead and scale this object down. Press T to get your toolbar, and then we can just scale. Or hit S to make sure it scales uniformly across all dimensions. Move. Not sure why it's not updating in the camera view. Oh, I scaled down with the camera. So let's undo that. Let's only select the chair and not the camera. Now let's hit S. There we go. Okay, so the materials have not come over with the object. Your first step in troubleshooting would be to go to File, External Data, find Missing Files, and select the folder where the files are. And for this particular model, the materials are still not importing. So we have two options now. We could either just choose choose our own materials using the BlenderKit that we downloaded, or we can try to manually reconnect the materials that came with this. So let's do that first, and then I'll demo the BlenderKit materials. If we go ahead and we select one of the objects of this chair, you'll notice that it has a default material applied to all of them. I guess not that, not the metal parts. Okay, that's interesting. But the leather has this default material applied. So when manually working with materials, you will want to navigate to the shading workspace right here. Think of shading as like an artist shading, creating depth to an object. And the shading workspace has a node-based architecture where properties of the material are connected through these little nodes. So there are some different nodes that appeared with this default material. And we are going to import the material that came with this. Let's start with the leather. And here we have the like skin or the color image for the leather. So we can just drag and drop. And it imported this as an image that we can connect from color output to color input to the default material. And everything was set up, so different leather areas actually aligned. If you look at the image, let's see if it allows us to look at the image. You'll notice there are different sections of the chair. I honestly don't know how, like, someone modeled this and colored it and then did something called unwrapping, where you take a 3D object that had been shaded and then turn it into a 2D object, and then it becomes this like very strange image. So there's also a normal map that is connected to this. I think it looks pretty good. You could add some of these more detailed maps. There is a normal map that comes with the chair that we can connect. And it gives it like a little bit more of an illusion of depth. You could also connect this glossiness image to the roughness. This looks funky, which tells me you need to invert it first. Shift A brings up different kinds of nodes that you can add. So color, invert color. Honestly, it's a level of detail that you don't really need to be worried about. Mostly just think about connecting this to your default material. And then you would go ahead and do that for all of the parts. So this was kind of This must have been metal, or no, it was wood. So this does not have a default texture set up to it, so I'm actually going to go here, copy. It's not going to let me here. Copy. Guess it won't let me paste. I'll just add a different material and then do the same thing. We'll call this metal. Did we name this? Let's name this one. A to add a node, and here we're going to add a normal map. And then we name this metal, so now we just have to add that material to everything else. Okay, I think you get the point. Oh, metal, metal. So another way of doing this, if you didn't want to get into creating different shadings, would be just to use the BlenderKit. So it's very simple. We downloaded this from BlenderKit. And we followed the 4 even steps to connect it to our add-ons here. We installed from disk. And then it appeared right here. So searching in materials, we can simply type in leather and find something that we like. And then let's go ahead and name that leather too. Since we had that leather. Not exactly close. I wonder, what is that one like? Definitely the one that came with the object looks better. Let's see if we can find something a little bit closer. Okay, that's not too bad. Much more complicated shading. You could go in here and adjust if that pleases you. You can also not be in the shading viewport. But this, see how glossy this is? That kind of bothers me. So if you wanted to adjust the properties of this material that you got from BlenderKit, you could find these parameters and play with them. So what's going to the roughness here, invert color here, color wrap here. Okay, that parameter made it look a little less glossy. Sure. Okay, and this is called leather J1, and then you can simply just change all of your leather parts to leather J1. Actually, looks pretty good. Okay, what else can we use BlenderKit for? Let's go ahead and find a metal. Ooh, that's funky. It's got almost like a sandpapered metal texture. Cool. Pretty complete chair, some mixed materials, mixed media, Eames chair, we can say. Okay, what else can you use BlenderKit for? Notice there's different models you could search for in here. So this might be easier than CG Trader. So let's find this. Let's go to layout mode. Not sure why the names are coming through. Let's go to rendered mode. That's interesting. That might be a setting. Is it hard to read? I wonder if you can turn that off. Let's find another model and see if it imports. That did not import names. I'm gonna go ahead and delete the second chair. We already have a chair anyway. Oh, it's rigged, which means you can animate it. We'll get into rigging and animating independent objects later. That's cute. Okay. What else can we find? Here's where collections will be useful. So let's go ahead and undo that import and make sure we have this in a collection. So we can just neatly tuck that in. Okay, let's go ahead and re-import that bedroom. Notice it imported into this collection, but I just moved it out of this collection. I'm gonna scale it up. Sure, not exactly of the same world, but we'll run with it. See if there's another bedroom. These are more parts. If you want to build a room, the organization of this could be helpful to look at. All of the parts of the room are their own independent object. You could also build a room where it's all made from one mesh. All right, so you have models, materials, scenes. So this might give us okay. It looks like you cannot just use a free account for these scenes. That makes sense. What else do they have? Okay. Oh, those, ooh, whoa. So remember when we changed the scene of our Blender area by just changing the image? We set it to blue at one point during class. Okay, let's give this one to us for free. But it's huge. I'm disoriented. So this is just an image that's imported in the world. If you recall, Luna Hayes used something like this for the exterior of a balcony, like off of a balcony scene. Let's see what this is. Oh, different brushes. I think for us, definitely the materials and the models. Will be most helpful. Okay, so I logged in. Now let's see if I can download more models. Full plan. So it looks like we only have certain models that are available to us. What did we download from here before? A chair. Let's see if it's still free. Okay, so that's still free. I mean, it makes sense. These things take a long time to model, so they're not just going to give it to us for free. So some things will be hidden behind a subscription. Looks like you get it free for a month or so. But I don't think you need that. So definitely some things to explore. Hope this helps you.